when I started to realize years ago how much politics played a role and how
Mm,
they're influencing our food and what we're eating, it became even more challenging. I mean, it was
yeah.
almost to the point where what do I even think or how do I even communicate what it is I think? Because there's so much out there, especially in the media. There's so much out there where it's like, that becomes the resistance to almost what I'm trying to help people with. That
Yeah.
becomes resistance because they hear all these other things and then here's just Adrian, you know? And so I think the consistency obviously um, is helpful, and maybe some other things too. But uh,
Mhm.
yeah, I think when we think about it in that deeper perspective, I think it's really really helpful because it gives people the type of feeling.
Yeah.
Like there's much more than you're up against than just a decision that you made because you were motivated in an instant.
Yeah, and that thing you touched on, quite frankly, is the big one, politics, because now we have the body positivity movement, and now we're
Mm.
talking about fat-friendly allies in the medical space. I'm like, wait, what? So now it's like, folks, if you're listening on the podcast but you can't find us on YouTube, it's because I just talked about the body positivity movement because it's a false premise, folks. Um, if your body's screaming that it needs help, you shoveling more food in your mouth as a coping mechanism and hurting yourself more is a detriment to your health. There is no such thing as like, oh, we need to change the BMI charts because it doesn't suit me. It's like how you feel, quite frankly, that mindset is not based on reality. At
Hmm.
least those in that are pushing the body positivity movement. Like, oh, this is healthy. Like Cosmopolitan put up several months ago on their covers. I'm like, is this a joke? It's like, what they say? Oh, there's fat athletes. No, there's a difference between people that are overweight and trying to lose the weight and needing that kind of attire and doing their thing. Do not downplay what they're doing. They're not trying to stay like that. But
Hmm.
now, like, say, no, these are overweight or fat athletes, whatever they say. Like, this makes no sense. um and that has been something that has become more difficult for people because that very mindset is like some people say, like, oh no, I was, it's genetics, I'm born this way, I can't stop eating because it's within my genes. So no,
Right.
I have never ever seen that proven. They say, oh, it's a
Right.
thyroid thing or whatever. There's always some kind of excuse to not try something,
Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
this is being manipulated, and it makes, yeah, your job even more difficult to navigate because you got to be politically correct. It's like, oh, did you just fat shame me? It's like, what?
What do I touch on? What do I not touch on and stuff? Look, the body is for you. It is not against you. And it does a great job in communicating to you. If you feel inflammation, that's a way of your body communicating back to you. Hey, let's tend to this inflammation, or let's attend to this area on your body, so that way you can respond. That's exactly what
Hmm.
inflammation does. It gives us some form of communication. Oh, headache. Well, why do we have chronic headaches? Well, because of this
Mm.
and this. So it gives you that form of um, hey, let's address this. And this, look, for years, it's been studied, it's been researched, and it's been proven. Obesity and people who are severely overweight, it is associated with diabetes complications. It's associated with more with higher chance of having heart disease. It's associated with higher chance of you having high cholesterol, high blood pressure, things like that. Even linked to things like depression. So because it's very complex, we have this side where no, I don't want to body shame people. Of course not, because this is. I mean, I want to be ethical and I want to be respectful and such. But am I going to promote, obesity? No. So,
Exactly, yeah.
so that's the body. That's where it can kind of get like kind of interesting and stuff. It's like I respect you as a person. Like, yeah, I'm not going to look down on you. I'm not going to uh, have some kind of like judgment towards you or whatever it is. But at the same time, though, too, like as far as my work is concerned, um, uh, we know that we feel better when our skeletal system and our low back isn't carrying
Hmm.
this excess body weight.
Yeah, we there's always a complaint about, and I don't want to commingle things, but it kind of touches upon it. There's a lot of complaints about the medical industry, how they're invested in making money off us. Well, if you really want to hit them where it hurts, do something for yourself that doesn't require you to go see them. It's
Right.
like you touched on your grandma, and the epiphany was a preventable disease.
Mm-hmm.
That's entirely different. Say someone losing a limb, that's a lot more difficult to address. But the idea that some things are preventable, just that there's no like desire to do something about it, instead of finding excuses to be in that lifestyle, if you will. There are no books that say 10 steps on how to get fat. I haven't seen someone that needed to be a professional on how to gain weight.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can do it. It's the effort that it takes, the mindset. And we're going to be hitting this one really hard, because that's where it all starts. Like, to get up in the morning, to self-motivate in a way, to get going, and then do those things that then become second nature, where it's like, I like being this way. You at some point it'll be like walking or breathing. You don't think about it anymore, you just do. Your
Mm-hmm.
eyes will naturally know. It's like, I want that, that's good for me. There's other stuff I can go without it. It right now it's more like, I want that. It's about like, okay, that's enough. Like, to get your mind to that point where you put yourself in check is awesome. But we do allow ourselves um, to be manipulated or influenced in some way or another, through societal pressure or peer pressure, to continue being in this. So I've always said that the number one enemy to your success is the man in the mirror, because that's the first person you see all the time, and it's either they will motivate you or not. And that, I know that's always been my battle. It's like,
Yeah,
the
like, and
mirror.
look, there's no, with all respect to the medical community, because we need them. However, there's no big business for big pharma when we're healthy. And so
Exactly.
it brings them no benefit to see you fully recovered and all this other stuff, right? So, I
Yeah,
mean, it would make sense for them. And that's why Westernized medicine treats symptoms and not the actual root of the situation.
exactly.
The actual root is going to be your lifestyle. The actual root is going to be the choices that you make every single day around food, or whether you choose to live a more active lifestyle. Literally, the function of the muscular system is movement.
Hmm.
Why are we not moving?
Hmm.
And if we're not moving, then we will feel the effects of that.
Yeah, and I think the movie Wally really touched upon it. How the future society is all just being moved around these hovercrafts, and the commercialization of everything's like, oh look, I like that thing now. Let's just change the color. It's like, really, that's what it comes down to. To appreciate the organic things. I know there's an environmental message in that movie, but that's not the point. The point is that like, turn off the screens and see like
Yeah,
what's right before you, or what you had and lost and you wish you could get back. It requires work.
yeah,
So I think that is a beautiful message from the movie altogether. But it
yeah,
really highlights a situation in that movie came out in 2008. Who would have known that 12 years later we would literally be incubated in a place, and we'd be ordering out to arrive to our house to shovel in our face, and we would be told not to exercise. Or a
yeah,
lot of people that do not have or are not homeowners, or do not rent a place that has a yard, to be confined to an apartment space or a condo, and there was just no way to be active per se. And they
yeah,
didn't see that, oh, I can't do anything in my room. Yes, you can, but
yeah,
they didn't have the motivation. But here they are shoveling, all this unhealthy food. And then what came out of that was a population that is more ripe for the taking, to be hurt by the current viral outbreak. So it's like, we went backwards. Why? What did it hurt to say, folks, get some vitamin D, get get some exercise, eat better. Strong immune system is the best form of defense. That's the first guard. The hospital is the last thing. In fact, this is what we're talking about just right here. By me mentioning it, it looks like as we're recording today, the state of California is making information such as this, even from professionals, medical professionals, illegal. You cannot speak against the state sanctioned ways to combat the coof. I'm going to use that as a term before YouTube censors me on that. But because we're talking about that, if it goes against the state approved message, people like you and the medical professionals cannot speak against that, because it's considered misinformation. for someone that's in that medical field, like we at school, we all learned the food pyramid. I don't know that was the way the government set it up. And then I learned later that food pyramid should be upside down, not the way it is right now. But you couldn't go against it. It was state sanctioned, if you will. That's all we're up against, quite literally. Where some people that are tuning in will probably be like, well, I'm going to take my advice from the news, even though there really isn't a thing to say they're the authority, other than the fact that they're given all this screen time, or airtime. Meanwhile, you who worked to become certified and are a professional trainer and nutritionist, and you do this for a living, you can't be taken serious. Like, they work and live. That's entirely different than someone reading from a teleprompter on the evening news. But it is crazy how this is what you're up against.
And I will tell you, I have tons of testimonials and transformation to results and et cetera, for the people that I work with. And I did not follow this pyramid. Go figure. I did not follow this pyramid. But I do want to mention this, though, if it's okay, because I'm also the encourager. If there is somebody listening who feels like we're bashing on their efforts, I'm not trying to do that. I think that there's room for improvement, and when I'm referring to trying to get healthier and et cetera, it's oftentimes people will self-sabotage if they don't hit a specific goal or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So they can feel like this sense of nothing's working for me, giving up. And then all of a sudden we start to just kind of live with how we feel, and we kind of just get used to it because we're just so tired and frustrated. And I understand it from the context of having coached these people. It can be really frustrating. So what I'm saying is that you don't have to live that way. You can still improve. Do not give up. There's still hope, and you can still move forward.